What is going on, FANation? Jonathan Impemba here with the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook live show. It is Friday. Got 8 games here on the DraftKings main slate. Appreciate all of you tuning in here today as I ride solo, breaking down this Friday 8-gamer. We got the NBA DFS Playbook out live over on Fantasy Alarm right now. You can check all of that out. And fortunately for us, the majority of the injury news that we've been waiting on today, we've pretty much already got. Right before we went live, we got word that Cam Johnson ruled out for tonight's matchup against the San Antonio Spurs. So the Nets down yet another member of their lineup. No Ben Simmons here this evening. Could open up some value that we'll go over. We'll go position by position here for today. We'll break down all that's happening across the league, and we'll build a lineup at the end of the show. And of course, we'll answer your NBA DFS questions, betting questions, whatever you got. You can throw them in the chat here. Be happy to get you ready to go for tonight's main slate. Like I said, 8 games. We got the full slate here as well. Starts at 7 o'clock, runs till 10 p.m. With the Warriors and the Clippers taking us out at the 10 p.m. Matchup there. Of course, no Steph Curry, potentially no Draymond Green, considered doubtful for tonight's matchup there for the Warriors here today. So, again, a lot of injury news, notably Luka Doncic and missed at least a month seemingly with that calf injury that he suffered. No Devin Booker, no Steph Curry. Obviously, no Banchero Wagner still for Orlando. Devin Booker remains out for the Phoenix Suns. Zion Williamson out for the Pelicans, so maybe he's returning soon. We know Curry's out, Ingram's out, Kawhi Leonard put a little vignette out there today, maybe returning soon for the Clippers here, but he remains out. Jamal Murray's probable. Cam Johnson, as I mentioned, ruled out already for today's slate just before we went live. Kristaps Porzingis, and I guess the Boston news is one of the pieces that we're waiting on. Porzingis is questionable, as is Drew Holiday today in the matchup against the Pacers. Andrew Nembhard ended up being ruled out for Indiana today. That was kind of a late news there for injury management for him. Cam Thomas remains out for Brooklyn. Draymond, as we mentioned, is doubtful. Ben Simmons, as we expected, ruled out there. Got to mention Shake Milton gets a bump into that starting lineup tonight. Derek Lively is questionable for Dallas, so could be without Lively. I think we're back here. I don't know what just happened. A whole screen just crashed, but we're back. Here we go. We're back. Everybody here. Let's see. Got Justin in the chat. Sorry for that, guys. I don't know what just happened. The whole thing just blipped out on me here. If you're still here, blink twice. I'm here with you guys. Justin, join the family today. Happy to have you in there. Stacks, Chris Diaz popping in here. So if you guys are still live with me, hopefully you are. See all these eyes still popping in here. I don't know what just went there. We were running down the injuries, and then all of a sudden, just complete darkness on the restream here. Think we're on Porzingis again, questionable to play. Him and Drew Holiday, Draymond Green, doubtful. Ben Simmons out. Lively, questionable to play. Aaron Gordon got ruled out for Denver here. Sandy Aldama and Dylan Brooks are both out tonight. Aldama got hurt last night. Brooks now 3 straight games that he has missed now. Sean Blink, like it. Stack saying the stream stopped. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Just all of a sudden it shut off on me. So glad to have us back. Grayson Allen out. Andrew Nembhard out. Dorian Finney-Smith is questionable. Tari Easton's questionable tonight after missing the last couple of games here. Jordan Hawkins also questionable for tonight for New Orleans. Obi Toppin ruled out. Kevin Porter Jr. questionable. That one could play into a big part of the value that we have tonight. Chris Dunn getting a lot of ownership tonight. So could see with Porter out, more minutes potentially go his way. So Marcus Smart ruled out. That's what you got here for your injury news for today. Again, appreciate you all still tuning in with me through that little technical glitch that we had there. Let's just start off at the point guard position. Obviously, the top guys are out with Luka Doncic. We have James Harden against Golden State. John Morant, $8,600 against the New Orleans Pelicans. DeJounte Murray, opposite side of that matchup against Memphis at $85. Kyrie Irving, $8,300. Brunson, $81. Halliburton, $81. And Suggs, $8,000. As we talked about on the morning show, though, Kyrie Irving at $8,300 with no Luka Doncic is a spot where it makes a lot of sense to kind of build your lineups around in a really tough spot against Minnesota the other day. Popped off in the second half of that game. Looked like a vintage Kyrie Irving performance. 37 minutes, 14 of 27 from the floor, 39 actual points scored there in that game for Irving. We've seen it at times this year without Luka Doncic not really give us the ceiling that we've looked for, but we certainly got it in that game, even though they lost to Minnesota in that one. Irving still came out of that with an almost 40% usage rate. And again, a lot of that likely had to do with the fact that once Luka Doncic was off the floor, just a lot of the offense flowing through Kyrie Irving. Luka expected to miss over a month now, so we only are expecting now, the Kyrie Irving's price tag is going to go up. But no, it's over $9K over on FanDuel, so maybe a bit more appropriate, but just $8,300 on DraftKings here tonight. Irving in this spot against Phoenix, one of the best game environments on the board as well, is the spot that we're going to be looking to get to at this price point again. We only need like 41.5 fantasy points, something like that to get us to 5X, something he's certainly capable of getting us here. And with Luka Doncic off the floor this season, Kyrie Irving, 30% usage rate, obviously leads the team. Fantasy points per minute, 1.24 on the year. So again, $8,300 Kyrie Irving, I think is someone that we're going to start to build a lot of lineups around for this evening. It's nothing against James Harden against Golden State. If you want to go there, you can. It's a 4-point spread. Clippers are home. Again, John Morant against the Pelicans is a great matchup for Morant, but the Memphis Grizzlies are really blowing out a lot of their teams, so there could just be limited minutes for Ja there. So for me, it makes a lot of sense to kind of play with Kyrie Irving at $8,300. From there, really like Darius Garland tonight. We talked on the preview show. I'm all in on what we got going on here with Cleveland and Denver matchup. Really liking the Cleveland side of this, especially Darius Garland at $7,000. 40 fantasy points in 3 of the last 5 when he's been extended. Minutes have really been the problem for the Cleveland team due to the fact that they're also blowing out a lot of teams. So when you finally get them in competitive settings, you get the 30 minutes plus, and you're getting 45, 42, 41 fantasy points there from Darius Garland. 5K or 5X is just 35 fantasy points. So we're getting 6, 7X return potentially out of Garland in some of these spots here. And again, I do really like this matchup against Denver for Cleveland. Close spread tonight, high game total. Darius Garland, $7,000 in this mid-tier, a point that I'd be looking to build some lineups around. Don't mind Jamal Murray either, probable for this one. Opposite side of that matchup, he's going to play a lot of minutes. You hope to get more to these games where 43, 51, 49 fantasy points, and not so much that down game against Phoenix like we just saw. But then also Russell Westbrook, I think, is quite interesting. No Aaron Gordon tonight. We expect Peyton Watson to start here. But we've been playing Westbrook and seeing him kind of close out some of these games. They could go to a bit of a smaller lineup tonight where maybe Michael Porter Jr. plays a power forward position to close out this one, and you get a Jamal Murray, Russell Westbrook, Christian Braun, Michael Porter Jr., Nikola Jokic kind of closing lineup there. And you get, Westbrook maybe approaching closer to 30 minutes. Has been really good when seeing extended playing time. Now, a lot of that was without Jamal Murray. But obviously, the way he's filling up the stat sheet with the assists, the rebounds, the steals have been really nice, and chipping in with the points. $6,300 for Russell Westbrook in a competitive game here tonight certainly could be appealing, especially the way Cleveland also plays their lineup. They go at two bigs, but then you'll often see them with like a Karis LeVert, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell lineup. They could match that up with Westbrook in their starting five closeout group there as well. Fred VanVleet's been really good. I'm not really going to chase this spot against Minnesota. Minnesota, really good defensive team. Tyree Eason potentially back here tonight. Still no Dylan Brooks, but again, I'm not really in on Fred VanVleet as much here this evening. There's a lot of ownership on Chris Paul this evening here. It is a good matchup against Brooklyn, but the fact that Brooklyn is down so many players, I do worry about the competitiveness of this game. If we only get 26 minutes because it's a blowout and not 36 minutes from Chris Paul, I'm not really sure he pays off $5,800. So in cash games, if you want to go Chris Paul, you can tonight, but otherwise I'm kind of really avoiding that. Next here, I do like Tyus Jones and Dennis Schroeder. Again, Dennis Schroeder here, no Steph Curry, likely no Draymond Green. Hasn't been the greatest fit. He hasn't really played all that well, this year with since joining that team has Schroeder, but there's going to be an opportunity for him tonight to really kind of take it on. Schroeder this season, has been really good when he was with Brooklyn. If this is kind of be an opportunity for him to lead this Warriors team and kind of lead that offense, then there's going to be some potential upside, I think, for him there. Spencer Dinwiddie, if he starts, I'll have interest. If he doesn't start, it's very difficult to trust. Now, he was really good earlier this season without Luka Doncic, but again, last game, Quentin Grimes went off. He didn't really see much of the floor. He also struggled shooting 0 for 7. If he starts, I have interest again. If he doesn't start, it'd be difficult to trust that he'll play a lot of minutes in that game. And then Shake Milton for some value tonight, $4,500. Would think he starts with no Ben Simmons, goes up against San Antonio. Even in a blow, just a lack of depth here, he could get up to 30 minutes tonight. So fine going Shake Milton. And then Chris Dunn would be the other guard that I think we look at here. Already playing 27, 34, 25 minutes. So a good run of minutes for him. And there could be no Kevin Porter Jr. tonight. Could lead to more minutes for Chris Dunn there at $3,800. Over at the shooting guard position here. Again, Anthony Edwards coming off a really good game. I'm not going to chase that, though. He hasn't largely paid off his price point. Good to see it going down, 8,500, becoming more manageable. But, at that price point, we still need like 42.5 fantasy points. So not really sure I'm going to get the Anthony Edwards in this spot against Houston, especially when for $100 less you get Donovan Mitchell in a really good matchup. Again, supposed to be a close game, 2-point spread, high game total. When you get Donovan Mitchell playing full minutes, you get 40, 50, 60 fantasy point upside out of him, as you've seen in some of these recent games where he's played full complement of minutes, 55 fantasy points and 35 against Boston, 35 minutes, 36 minutes, 52 fantasy points there against Atlanta. So if you can get him playing, against Chicago, 34 minutes, 60. Against Philadelphia, 34 minutes, 60. Chicago, 35 minutes, 60. You get the drift here. We can get this guy to play 34, 35 minutes. There's 60 fantasy point potential in these spots. Really, really love the price tag for Donovan Mitchell at $8,400 in this matchup against Denver. One of my core plays here of the day. Again, Kyrie Irving, we've talked about. Bradley Beal has been really good without Devin Booker, 45 and 41 in 2 of the last 3 games. The minutes have been ridiculous as well, 38 and 35 in those 3 games there. Again, great matchup. Another one of the games where we're really looking to get exposure to. A lot of these lineup builds for me have exposure really to the 9 p.m. And 10 p.m. slate. So getting this matchup with Bradley Beal at $7,400 against Dallas tonight feels like a pretty good play. Norm Powell, also similar price point. The minutes for him have been amazing. The scoring has been off the charts. And this is another game. The Clippers, just a 4-point home favorite tonight. You'd think maybe a little bit bigger with no Steph Curry, maybe no Draymond Green. But, Vegas thinks this one's going to stay within 5 points. I would see no reason that we wouldn't get 38, 39 minutes out of Norman Powell here tonight. And he's been spectacular, not only scoring, but lately also chipping in with rebounds, assists, and steals. Some really high ceiling outputs out of him. So both Beal and Powell in that 7K range, solid options. For me, then, I really just kind of dropped down into the value. I like Klay Thompson at 54. Devin Vassell's kind of chalky tonight from an ownership standpoint. You want to get more Cleveland, Denver, Christian Braun, Karis LeVert are fine. Quentin Grimes at 5K. I think if he starts over Spencer Dinwiddie, I would have some interest there. So that one's fine for me. Trevelin Queen continues to get some ownership love. Now, I do think we need to kind of hesitate a little bit. 3K, 3,300, 36. That's fine. Up to 4,300 now. Lowest game total on the board at 210.5 against the Knicks. The minutes have been great, but it's not the greatest game environment. But if you are looking for some value at $4,300, you got to think the minutes for him are going to be pretty good. Brandon Podziemski is your chalk play tonight. Many are projecting him to see minutes increase at $4,000 without Curry and Draymond playing tonight. He's obviously super risky because of how low volume he is as a scorer. He really needs to kind of fill out that stat sheet for you. But again, a lot of ownership is going here. So if you want to be a little different in tournaments and maybe bank on maybe a floor game from Podziemski, because this isn't a great matchup against the Clippers, you could fade that 4K there. And again, some of these other plays we've kind of already discussed. Chris Dunn as an option for some value at the shooting guard position. McBride's played a lot of minutes. If you think there's going to be some game flow potentially against Orlando, you can go there. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them in there. Happy to answer those for you. Jermaine, anybody on Harrison Barnes under points? You definitely can. Again, it's not a great game environment overall. Do you think this game even blows out the under points while he's playing less minutes with their new starting lineup with Sohan, Vassell starting? I'm fine taking the under the points here. And Game Rock saying he's a Kings fan. Firing Mike Brown 10 minutes before they board a plane, man. Pretty brutal scene there. Small forward position, Jaylen Brown, $7,900. Sports Illustrated named Jaylen Brown their NBA Player of the Year. Maybe he has some added motivation, but more so, if there's no Kristaps Porzingis and no Drew Holiday today, I definitely have some Jaylen Brown interest. We kind of have a rule here. Anytime Jaylen Brown was under $8,000, we kind of always threw him in our player pool. $7,900 fits that mold here. No Porzingis, no Drew Holiday on the floor this season. Jaylen Brown averaging 1.31 fantasy points per minute. Usage rate without those two on the floor, 33.8%. So, pretty elite. Obviously, second to Jason Tatum, and we'll talk about Tatum, cover of today's live stream, cover of today's playbook. But Jaylen Brown certainly in a great spot here against the Pacers. Played against them earlier this year, overtime game, 47 fantasy points. So no real problems getting to Jaylen Brown here at $7,900. Then we cover a bunch of guys we've discussed already: Bradley Beal, Norm Powell, Eamon Thompson. Would expect him to start tonight without Dillon Brooks in the lineup. Again, has been playing 31 and 38 minutes. Has been really good these last two games. These games were blowouts. Competitive game, should get a ceiling worth of minutes. So 38 minutes, well in play here. I like Eamon Thompson at $6,400. We've seen him pay it off time and time again. The defensive numbers are ridiculous. The rebounds have been great for him tonight. So while I don't necessarily love a lot of this Houston-Memphis game from a game flow standpoint, I think Eamon Thompson certainly still fits it in. Josh wants to know Jokic, Merrill, or Wemby, Pippen Jr., Ja back-to-back. I mean, listen, Ja back-to-back, but if Ja's active, it's not like he's not going to play 20 minutes tonight. He's probably going to still play 25 to 30 in a blowout scenario. And if it's competitive, he'll play more. I don't really love spending down to Pippen or Merrill. Honestly, the minutes are just so potentially limited for both of them. You got to remember with Merrill, they have Max Strus back. They have Karis LeVert as well. So, if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Wemby and Pippen, just thinking maybe a blowout run there for Pippen Jr. I know there's no Marcus Smart, but I don't really love either backup guard there. There's other value on the slate. Again, we'll talk about Tyrese Martin. Tyrese Martin's $3,800 on DraftKings. Could get him tonight with no Cam Johnson now in the starting lineup. Could be an offensive play and kind of fill the shooting guard small forward position there for you. Again, Eamon Thompson, as I mentioned, is a spot I'd be looking to go. Andrew Wiggins, core part of my lineups tonight. We've seen Wiggins just play a lot of minutes, coming off 45 fantasy points, had 44 against Dallas a few games prior when there hasn't been Steph Curry in the lineup earlier this year. He had some really big games. You saw them back-to-back 40 fantasy point performances here. If there's this opportunity for him to play 35 minutes tonight, I think there's a really good chance he pays it off. He's averaging almost 34 fantasy points in 2 games against the Clippers as it is. That will pay off a $5,600 price tag against 6X at $5,600. That's like 33 fantasy points right there. So good value on Andrew Wiggins here tonight at $5,600. Mentioned Clay and Vassell already, Grimes. Tristan Da Silva has been really good. I understand, again, bad game flow against the Knicks, low game total. But he's taking shots. He's making shots. He's playing a whole lot of minutes here. $4,500 could get Tristan Da Silva in your lineups. Cam Whitmore comes with a bit of a disclaimer tonight. The minutes have been great, but as I highlighted in the playbook and we talked about on the preview show, he enters late in the third quarter these last two games and played the entire fourth. Which basically means you're getting 15 straight minutes of those 27 minutes in the end of the third, straight to the fourth in those two blowout games. In a competitive game, he probably doesn't play a full 12-minute fourth quarter. We are expecting Tari Eason back tonight, so they could even cut into some of his minutes with Tari Eason. Now, I think Jae'Sean Tate is the one that loses minutes, not Cam Whitmore here. I do think Cam Whitmore is a very good player. We've talked about him going back to last year. He's been an absolute bucket shooting as well since he started to see more playing time in the last three games here. But if this game is close and competitive, I just don't think he's going to play close to 30 minutes tonight. So you got to at least take that into some consideration that maybe he only plays 22 to 23 and not 27 at $4,200. I do like Jake LaRavia tonight. There's no Santi Aldama. There's no Marcus Smart. He's playing, low 20s minutes. Maybe that bumps up to mid 20s tonight. And in a blowout, maybe he approaches 30. So I do like LaRavia at $4,100. Then, as I mentioned, Tyrese Martin down here, $3,600. There's no Cam Johnson. Very likely chance he is the one that enters the starting lineup tonight. We've seen him be really good shooting the basketball. Of course, he had that one blow-up game, 15 points against Chicago, 29 fantasy points. Then he had the 30 actual game against Phoenix, 28 minutes, 10 of 13. So, I would expect him probably to play 30 minutes tonight with no Cam Johnson and start and maybe lead the team in shot attempts. $3,600 against San Antonio. Could even get blowout run because of the lack of depth there. I think I'd be willing to take more of a shot on him tonight than again with Josh had mentioned with Pippen and with Sam Merrill there. Going to see if there's been an ownership update following that Cam Johnson news. See if there's anybody playing Martin here tonight on DraftKings. Let's see. Ownership. So Milton now your highest rostered play with the Cam Johnson news out. That's really not too surprising. Actually, three Brooklyn players among the top with Milton, Claxton, and Clowney up there. Tyrese Martin around 12%. So, not as high as I thought it would be, but if he's in that starting lineup, you probably end up seeing that go up. But the Nets now getting some ownership love for some value. And we'll talk Clowney and Claxton when we get the power forward and center. Top of the power forward list, again, Jason Tatum. Cover of the playbook, cover of the live stream. 42 minutes against Philadelphia in a non-overtime game, goes for 62. Chicago, 36 minutes, goes for 83 with a triple-double. The rebound numbers are insane, almost a lock for a double-double. And then again, you look at the numbers without Kristaps Porzingis, 38% usage rate, no Porzingis, no Drew Holiday this season, averaging 1.6 fantasy points per minute. Those are elite numbers for Jason Tatum here without Porzingis and without Drew Holiday on the floor. Of course, he went for 62 in the overtime game against the Pacers earlier this year, 37, 8, and 4 steals. Tatum's one of my favorite plays of the day, and nobody is playing him. If you're looking for some tournament leverage here tonight, I think Tatum is a spot to go. A lot of people are spending up for Nikola Jokic. A lot of people are playing Kevin Durant. There's plenty of value to get two guys like that in your lineup tonight. So, yeah, if you want to go Durant for cheaper, you can. But I like Jason Tatum a lot tonight. Again, nothing against Durant. Gave you a 60 bomb back-to-back Indiana and Detroit. Back-to-back games against Denver. Obviously, tougher matchup, but still 42 and 49. There's no Devin Booker here, so get Devin Booker off the floor. Looking at a Phoenix team where you see Beal and you see Durant really kind of take over in these spots. It's a great matchup for them against Dallas as well. This season without Devin Booker on the floor, looking at 1.4 fantasy points per minute for Kevin Durant, 1.05 for Bradley Beal. Usage rate 38% for Kevin Durant without Devin Booker on the floor. So kind of matching the numbers for Jason Tatum. Tatum a slightly higher fantasy point per minute output, but Durant right there as well. Evan Mobley, again, I really like Cleveland on this side. Back-to-back 50 fantasy point games against Philly and Utah. Not dealing with Aaron Gordon defense tonight. It'll be Peyton Watson, so could be a spot for Mobley at $7,600. Sohan's fine in cash games, $6,200 there. Can play Jabari, can play Wiggins. Jabari probably less if there's Tari Eason active tonight. But again, Wiggins is there. Jonathan Kuminga's got a bit of an enigma. Not a lot of ownership on Kuminga tonight. I think that will increase if we get an official Draymond Green rule out here. But obviously a guy that has been highly productive when given an extended run. No Steph Curry, potentially no Draymond Green. Could lead to Kuminga in the starting lineup tonight. And then again, without Curry and without Green on the floor this season, we see Kuminga with a usage rate sitting at, let's see, where is he? Kuminga usage rate, 32%, highest on the team without Steph Curry and Draymond Green. So $5,500, this is a 10 p.m. game, so we may not know the starting lineup. We may not know Draymond's status until these rosters lock here. But 1.08 fantasy points per minute and a 31% usage rate, pretty elite for Jonathan Kuminga. Really good value at $5,500 there. If there's no Porzingis, Al Horford's fine. Again, Noah Conley, your second highest roster player right now. 30-plus minutes last 4 games. 32, 28, over 20 fantasy points in the 2 games prior to that. Again, I just don't really love this matchup for Brooklyn. They're going up against San Antonio. I think it could just be a fact that they don't have a lot of depth. So these guys are just going to be forced into playing minutes. But, Wemby's been so good here. I don't know. Is he going to go shoot 7 of 10, 6 of 13 against Sohan and Wemby defense? I don't know. I'm not really a big believer in Brooklyn tonight, but people are getting to these plays. Mentioned De Silva already, and Whitmore, LaRavia. Let's see, any other value that we look at? Not really, unless we get starting news, but that's about it for power forward. And then center. We talked about on the previous show that we thought maybe Wemby would be the higher roster play tonight. Coming off of 83 fantasy points, it gave you the 70 fantasy point game against Atlanta. The man's given you 8, 10, and 7 block games in the last 5. But it is the Joker that's actually getting the ownership love today. So if you want to be a little different, under 10% playing Victor Wembanyama on the other side of that Brooklyn matchup, if you think that game stays some level of competitiveness, even without Cam Johnson and Ben Simmons on the floor for Brooklyn here today, then I think Wemby is your tournament leverage play. Spread in that game 7.5. It's a 212.5 total. So it's like not overly appealing, but Wemby has been insane lately. The Joker, again, better game environment, 236.5 total, 2.5 point spread there. We haven't really seen him pay off the price tag like we were during this ridiculous stretch. But maybe tonight in a game against Cleveland, he gets up for it. And we do get that ceiling performance. But again, costs $800 more, and more people are playing Jokic than Wemby tonight. So tournament leverage play. Same thing with Towns. Nobody's playing Karl Anthony Towns. Tough game against San Antonio, got benched. Went for 57 in 32 minutes against Toronto, though. Had a 72 fantasy point game against Minnesota. So he has a ceiling as high as those other guys, and he's significantly cheaper. Now, again, this is a matchup against Orlando. 6.5 point spread, 213.5 game total. It's not great, but Towns is in obviously a spot where he can dominate against the Knicks. He went for 20-20, or Orlando rather. 23 and 15, 22 and 22 against them. So it's not as if Towns can't get it done in this matchup. Ivica Zubac has been insane, averaging almost 50 fantasy points in his last 4 games as well. Matchup against Golden State, averaging 50 fantasy points in 2 games against them. So if you want to go Zubac as a game stack there at 76, that one's fine. And then for some value here, Claxton and Edey are getting the ownership love. Again, Claxton playing the minutes, not a great offensive player, but potentially double-doubles. I would much rather play Zach Edey tonight than Nick Claxton. Edey all day was your top ownership guy. Now he's not. Still up there, but Claxton has overtaken him. Edey ridiculous last night. He got subbed back in that game, and they were up 30. So 27 minutes in 3 straight games. I would rather Edey over Claxton for me tonight. And then Trace Jackson Davis, again, someone that I thought would be more would get some more ownership love, only around 13%. Maybe that increases if Draymond officially gets ruled out tonight, but he's been starting, some playing minutes. He's been very efficient. He's been a great rebounder. He's $4,300. I would have no problem spending down for TJD tonight to help you guys spend up with your lineups there. Mobley or Triple J for cash for Murray there. I would go Mobley in cash games. Obviously, I think you asked us last night about Potter. Once Potter wasn't starting, it was pretty tough to kind of trust him there, and then he didn't get in the lineup. And then Mobley, Martin, Pods, or JJ for upside. I would go Mobley and Martin, Josh, for upside there over Triple J and Podziemski. And then you need the cores in Discord. Depends, I'll give you the cores, but I also wrote a whole playbook up for you guys. We have the holiday sale going on, and I'll even give you a sneak peek of what the playbook looks like for everybody. So we have a 7-day free trial. We have the holiday sale going on. It's 50% off for 2025. That's $19.98 a month for the 2025 year. If you subscribe and then unsubscribe and you try to resubscribe, it's $39.97. So you really want to take advantage of this 50% off deal that we got going on for the 2025 calendar year. Let's see. I think this is what's going to share here. So you see the playbook. All right. So you guys see the playbook. This is what we offer as our featured playbook here for all sports, NBA, NFL, and MLB. We got a full write-up. We hyperlink in our preview shows. We do roster lock updates. So basically, after we get off the show here, we start throwing updates into the chat so you can kind of see all the late breaking news. We got the injury statuses, games we're looking to target due to spreads and totals. Our core player pool. The Prince are always asking for our core plays. We got our core player pool. And then we do full write-ups on everybody. So we do a full analysis write-ups on all the players that we like at each position, varying price points as well. So you guys are on the fence. If you wanted to know what we offer over here at Fantasy Alarm, this is our daily playbook. About 30 players written up with analysis here. We give you our cores. You can in-tune it with our, put it in tune with the our tools that we have, our example lineups that we have, or lineup generator that we have, rather, and you can get all that as part of the All-Pro package there. So little glimpse of our playbook that we write each and every day for all of you. FantasyAlarm.com/holiday. You can scan that QR code. Promo code FA Holiday will automatically fill for you. Just hit add promo, and you'll get 50% off for the calendar year 2025 there at $19.98. That's for all sports. It includes draft guides and cheat sheets. The fantasy baseball season's right around the corner. Our fantasy baseball draft guide will be coming out at the end of January. So you can get that included in your subscription along with the cheat sheets for all sports, NFL season, NBA next year. It's all included with the All-Pro subscription. We're giving that away for 50% off for the holidays through the new year. So only a couple of weeks left to take advantage of this offer. Let's see here. Kuminga or Edie? I would go... Listen, if Kuminga starts, Michael, I'm going Kuminga. So if you get that news, that's where I would go. Otherwise, I think Edie, because if Kuminga doesn't start, I mean, we've seen Kerr just play him like 23 minutes. There's no guarantee that the minutes are there for him. So that's where we're looking at. Is he out? Nembhard is out. Yeah, Josh, Nembhard's out tonight. So they just ruled him out for injury management right before we went live. So can't go Nembhard tonight. Don't put him in your lineup. You'll get a 0. What does that do for their starting lineup without Nembhard? I mean, Mathurin gets a little bit of a bump there. Shepherd probably starts in his place, but I don't really want to play Ben Shepherd tonight. So maybe Dries Walker gets a minutes bump because they don't have Obi Toppin either in that lineup. Thomas Bryant will play the backup center minutes tonight against Boston. Shepherd, again, I would imagine would start, and Dries Walker probably gets some increased minutes off the bench there. So it's kind of what we're looking at for tonight's slate. Again, solo show, so a little bit abbreviated. I will have updates in the playbook, and you got to get in that Discord. Again, part of our premium Discord. You guys have options to go check it out. Let's see if I can bring the Discord on screen and kind of give you guys a sneak peek of everything that we got going on here at Fantasy Alarm. Let's see. Let's see if the Discord will show up on the restream. Let's see. Share. Let's see, share. So stop sharing this screen. Replace sharing screen. Let's see if we do replace. Entire screen. Okay, cool. All right, so this is our premium Discord. We got all the Discord channels. They're all here. This is a golf channel. If you're playing golf, Scotty Scheffler, hand surgery. Victor Hovland broke his toe. What are we doing? But we got the NBA DFS channel. You guys are all in there. Can ask your questions. Myself, James Grande, Justin Carlucci, Keith Eister, we're all in there answering your questions, getting you guys ready for the slate. That's part of your premium subscription. We link in there. We'll answer your lineup questions. We'll give you updates. So, again, part of your All-Pro sub has this Discord. If you are a member and you're not in the Discord already, make sure you go to your FANation player account, user account, and in your profile page, you can click connect and you can join the Discord. We have channels for all sports, NBA, NFL DFS here as well. Get Howard Bender in there answering your questions, Dan Malin answering your questions. It's helping you set your lineups for the NBA DFS season. We have MLB, obviously, DFS and betting when that comes back around. So plenty of channels to get in the Discord if you're not yet a member, of the Fantasy Alarm team here. So, again, make sure you check it out, guys. Come join the family for the All-Pro holiday subscription that we got going on and take you through the 2025 season here. So, again, get in that Discord. If you have any questions, we'll find us there. Cam Whitmore tonight. So, Jordan, this is the deal with Cam Whitmore. I'll try to bring myself to a normal size here. All right, we'll do this. The issue with Cam Whitmore, a couple things. Tari Eason is expected back tonight. Now, Dylan Brooks is ruled out. The last two nights that Cam Whitmore has played, it was blowouts, and he got a ridiculous amount of run here. I'll actually even show you with a visual aid what I'm talking about here. So let's get Houston up. We'll share this tab. Let's see. Can you guys see? Let's see. It's not showing up. Why can't I show this screen here? Let's see. If I stop sharing this, let's do this one. Can I share now? All right. So this is Add More Funds, guys. This is a free tool that we talk about a lot on the show. Add More Funds helps us figure out usage rates and rotations. So if we're looking at the Houston rotation here, let's see. Can I blow this up for you guys? You can see it a little bit better. Let's see. All right, Houston Rockets rotation. Again, this is Add More Funds. Check it out, addmorefunds.com. You can see where everybody checked in. Red is when they're on the floor. Cam Whitmore checked in here. Third quarter, checked in. Played the final 3 minutes of the third quarter. Played the entire fourth quarter. So that's 15 straight minutes of his 27 minutes in a blowout. You look at the game prior to that against Charlotte. Cam Whitmore checked in. Played the final 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. Played the entire 12 minutes of the fourth quarter. That's 16 minutes of his 27 minutes. Those were blowouts. If this game is competitive tonight, do we think that Cam Whitmore is going to play an entire fourth quarter? I just don't see it. Now, if Tari Eason gets ruled out, it helps his case a little bit more because there's going to be some rotation minutes there for everybody to come play. But if Tari Eason is ruled in, I think Jayshawn Tate probably loses his minutes, but there's no way Cam Whitmore is playing a full 12-minute fourth quarter with a healthy Tari Eason. Like that end of the game rotation is going to be Jabari, it's going to be Şengün, it's going to be Van Vliet, it's going to be Amen Thompson, it's going to be Jalen Green most likely. It's not going to be Cam Whitmore for 12 minutes in the fourth quarter. So if this game ends up is a blowout, I just don't think that we're going to see Cam Whitmore play all of those minutes. If Eason returns, do I still like Amen? No, or do we like Amen less? No, Amen's fine because Amen's going to start for Dylan Brooks here. So Amen's going to start for Dylan Brooks. He's going to play plenty of minutes here. Easton's going to be the sub for Jabari. He'll be the sub for Alperen Şengün. Shouldn't really impact Amen Thompson's minutes at all in this one. Again, it could impact Cam Whitmore. Likely cuts out Jayshawn Tate. But again, this is Add More Funds. We talk about this site a lot during our shows here. So if you guys want to go check that out, super useful tools where we read off all the usage rates, the rotations, so you can check that out as well. So guys, I do appreciate you all tuning in with us here. I know it's gotten a little bit short, but you can get in that Discord. We'll answer your questions. I'll make some updates to the playbook for all of you. And we'll be back on Monday for the Monday main slate. Good luck tonight, everybody, with your lineups, and we'll catch you later.